I'm sorry, if we can learn anything from the conversation we've had today, it should not matter the number of people your partner has slept with.
Fair.
If you can get up to number one on that list, and the only way you're getting number one, baby, is figuring out where that clit is. Okay,
that is true.
Find it. Do
Find
it.
it.
True.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Menage-A-Pod, the hysterical comedy podcast about sex, dating, relationships, and everything in between. I'm TJ, and as always, I'm joined by the Thelma to my Louise.
Oh, that's a good one.
Jenna, what's
Hello.
up?
Does that mean we're going to commit crimes? Is that what they did in that movie?
We're gonna go out together off a ledge in a convertible with sunglasses, scarf blown in the wind.
Listen, buddy, I love you, but
In
I
a
don't love you
blaze of
enough to
glory.
die with you. Although, wasn't a young Brad Pitt in that
It was
movie?
his first role. He had standing on the bed holding the.
So hot.
Man, is this wrong for me to acknowledge that 30 seconds in and already I think we're funnier than the podcast that I hate?
No, because we are.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
So I hear. I know last episode we told our lovely listeners about some trauma and stress you had regarding the theft of some items. Is there any updates on that?
Well, I officially am a human being again. So I have an identity again.
You do,
which is awesome.
Is it
I was
Batman?
feeling a little lost. It is Batman. Don't tell anyone though, because then you just fucking gave away that I'm a superhero.
Guys, Jenna does not sound like Leslie Mann. She's secretly Bruce Wayne.
I am.
I'm Batman.
I have a penis. Just kidding. So, but yes, I did. I finally have an identity, which is awesome. It took forever because it was like puzzle pieces. It was like I needed one thing to get the next thing to get the next thing, and it was just a fucking mess. So anyway, as of this week, I'm human again. And this weekend, I'm sitting at brunch, and all of a sudden, not drinking, by the way, because I still like the paper ID doesn't get you anything. So I don't even know why the fuck they give it to you, to be perfectly honest. I tried to
taunt you.
I tried to Postmates tonight wine for our guest on the episode and me, obviously. And I had to cancel the order because it reminded me that I'd need to show a valid ID and they scan it. And this fucking thing doesn't
That's
have
a shame because I think there's no more valid ID of your drinking age than that face.
Wow. Burn.
You look at least 23.
I was like, I have a birth certificate. Can I show them my birth certificate? They're like, no, we need to scan something. And I was like, this is bullshit. Anyway, so I'm sitting at brunch and I get a text message from Apple, which is bullshit. And it's like, hey, we've located your phone in San Francisco. I'm like, cool, Apple, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Like, that's neat. Neat. That's literally what I wanted to text in the back. Neat, Apple. Because then what do I do with that information? I mean, maybe if I would have done a police report, but like, who the fuck's tracking down an iPhone all the way in San Francisco?
I say
nobody cares.
You and me, we get together with a friend of the pod, Jeremy Renner, and we track down this unnamed and unknown rapscallion who has made off with your phone from the Boss Bar establishment.
I like this plan. And then what are we going to do with them when we get them? String them up by their toes.
Murder.
And that's when we drive off the cliff after?
Yeah, for sure. Man, you really picked up on this Thelma and Louise thing.
I totally did. So anyway, so that's exciting. It's just been a shit week, though. I got to be honest with all that. And then, you guys, I have some sad news. I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it, but I'm going to mention it. Only because TJ got me the nicest gift. So everyone knows that poor little Coop, my one dog, the black one that, I don't know if have you posted?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
He passed away last week from congestive heart failure. So it was lovely. I mean, it wasn't lovely, let's be honest. It was really fucking sad.
We sent him off with a filet mignon, a bag of blow, and the finest hookers in Chicago.
So many hookers. And I mean, there's so many of those here. He was fine. But so the guy came to the house, which was weird and interesting. So like, you know how I am about ghosts. I'm kind of hoping that his like spirits wandering the house. That's my hope. And like sometimes I'll see him. Anyway.
I hope his spirit's wandering all over the house, secretly peeing in places, and you're getting mad at Miles for doing it, even though it's Cooper's ghost.
You're probably right. He's like, haha, Mom, I'm still here. Anyway, so that was kind of a bummer. So if I'm being totally honest, his last 2 weeks is fucking blown. I'm so over it. That's why I'm drinking wine when I'm not supposed to be, because fuck you, universe. I've had it.
But we didn't talk about the most important part. You briefly mentioned
That
it.
you gave me an amazing present.
Yes, I have a heart,
that was
everyone.
you do. He does have a heart. It was actually very nice and thoughtful. The last time he was here, he took a pic, which is like in crazy timing, that he took a picture of Cooper when he was sitting down on the ground. It's the cutest picture, and he gave it to me in a frame. So now I get to stare at his sweet little face every day I work. I know. Such a sad.
Heartbreaking.
Shit, I know.
Coop, we love you. We're tipping a 40 for you right now.
More like a hamburger. I ate a hamburger for lunch.
Was it?
Like put some down on the ground for him.
And did you listen
Imaginary.
to Puff Daddy's I'll Be Missing You while you were doing that?
No.
Oh, you should have. You could wear like an oversized white suit and like dance in front of a fisheye camera.
I was going to make it like a Rough Riders joke because you know how he always barks in those.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't think of the song.
And really, it's
So I
just
lost
it's just his asthma. He's like
Anyway, so that's been my week. But I'm in LA next week, which is cool. I could use the fucking sunshine. And then I thought, like, I should have gone early because it's a beginning of the week trip for
Right.
work. And I thought, man, why didn't I go over the weekend? I could have had a nice sunny weekend after all this fucking rain we've been having.
Man, you should have gone.
I know. What was I thinking?
You're not thinking.
I'm not thinking.
You're the worst.
I'm in mourning.
Fair. You get some time to get through this.
Thank
you know,
you.
we're relationship positive, we're sex positive, and more than anything else, we are definitely dog positive
for sure.
For sure.
Who knows though, guys? Like, you know, I might get a pup. What happens if I get a puppy? We could have a new mascot. Don't tell Miles.
And Spike's still around too.
Oh yeah, and Spike. Oh, maybe they could be buddies.
Once I move here, it's puppy play dates all day, every day.
You know what? Actually, you might have just solved my problem.
Oh yeah?
When you move here, you should drop Spike off because I work from home all day, and then Miles will have a fucking play partner and won't piss in my kitchen anymore.
That's an incredible idea.
I think
like
that's a good
where your head's
idea.
at.
Although Spike might pee in my kitchen. Someone's gonna fucking pee in the kitchen, and it might be me after all this fun. We don't know. It could happen.
Off the topic of dog pee. By the time this comes out, it will have already happened, but I'm pretty
You're
stoked.
gonna pee in the kitchen?
I have before.
That's awkward.
One night I was drunk and you were asleep and I peed in your kitchen sink.
Ew, no, you
Just
didn't.
kidding.
Okay, good.
No, I didn't do that. But this weekend, I'm going to, on Theater on the Lake, unfortunately, the first session sold out, but I'm going to the Chicago Pizza Summit.
I don't know what that is.
So Anthony Spina, he is organized this. It's the fourth straight year of it. It's moved to Theater on the Lake right off the Fullerton
such a good
exit.
venue, though.
And there's like 30 or 40 of the best pizza places in Chicago with specialty type pizzas, like not just like a flat bread with pizza stuff on it, like foldovers and like fried things and croquettes, and a pizza daiquiri is going to be there. There's going to be all sorts of pizza
What
related
is
things.
ew? What is ew?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to find out. I'm going to do that research so you guys don't have to. I will report back next week with a full update on the pizza daiquiri.
I have one comment about this. Because
Only one? How off-brand.
I know. I have one comment about this because don't hate me, but I don't actually think the food there is that great.
I don't either, but it's not their food.
But that's my point, is that this is going to be the one time that you're going to have really good food there, which is such a shame because it's such an awesome, awesome space.
I've actually been there briefly with you once, Jenna.
I know.
Yes,
that was a good drunken brunch.
The people I was there with,
recorded after it.
We did. The people I was there with, they love the burrata and some of the other stuff. The food's like, it's okay. It's just, you got to be, it's pretty narrow in its focus. So you got to really like what they're doing or you're out of luck. But luckily for
They do
me,
have a good old fashioned though.
there's going to be pizza from Pequod's and Lumalnati's and Giordano's and Pizzeria Bibu and Uno and like all of the
Daiquiris.
staples. And so I'm going to
Pizza
eat all the pizza, drink all the booze.
Or drink the pizza. Because really, what's a pizza daiquiri?
Pureed pizza.
That's
Just
what I'm
throw
saying.
it in
It's
the
a fucking-
NutriBullet
it's a
with some
smoothie.
strawberries and some bananas.
It's a
Maybe a little
smoothie.
Nutella. Strawberry, banana, pepperoni,
Ooh.
prosciutto, Nutella pizza.
You lost me when you put the meat in there, but
How many? That's probably the
otherwise,
first time you've ever said that in your life.
That's actually probably also true.
That's generally right where they find you.
Yeah, this is true. Although you had me at Nutella because that's my jam.
I've actually, this shows you, as we, in a previous episode, Kenyon joked constantly about me looking poor. I did grow up poor. So as a poor kid, I just had Nutella for the first time like 2 years ago.
So I did not grow up poor, and I just had Nutella when I went to Europe. That made me sound really obnoxious. But when my ex-husband and I were on our honeymoon, we were in Paris and Italy, and they gave all the Nutella. It was like
Can
at
I just
every
say,
meal,
you are
like
insufferable.
water. I'm the worst. But it's the only time I've ever been to Europe. So technically, I'm not as obnoxious as that sounds. Literally the only time, except outside of London, visiting my friend Dave, is the only time I've ever been to Europe.
Occasional listener of the pod, Dave.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Somebody's racking up those UK listens. Thanks.
Yeah, him and his girlfriend. The only two people in London. It's fine.
All right, Janelle, I think now is as good a time as any to intro our fantastic guest for this week.
Yeah, I'm so
I know I
excited.
say this all the time because I really do, but I'm so excited to intro.
You really do say this all the time.
I do, but that's because it seems like
But
every
every
week we
time
get
you
like
mean it.
great
I know.
guests and
You're
people
right.
coming in and doing fantastic stuff and really creative and exciting. So
We should all just think everyone's great. Honestly.
It's a good way to go about
Share
life.
the love, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I think, yeah.
This week, our guest is none other than Jamie Shriner Biddle. She is a stand-up comedian, co-producer of Shady Babies at North Bar and Wicker Park, and the new show Comedy Uncensored Naughty Thoughts, or Cunt, at Laugh Factory. It's usually, I believe, last Friday, last Saturday of the month, right? Which days?
Yeah, it's usually the last Saturday of every month. That's the schedule that we are on at the time being. So the next one's going to be on October 26th.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then also the creative force
That's
behind
my
the
birthday.
musical.
Oh my gosh, maybe I'll do that on my birthday.
We should do that on
Yes.
your birthday.
Okay, sorry, go on.
No, that would be great.
I feel like that was a good. If we're going to interrupt, at least it's for that. Yeah,
I know.
But also, in addition to all those wonderful things, she's also the creative force behind the musical Wife material. And Jenna and I were listening to some of it and looking up
Yeah,
YouTube
it
clips
was
earlier
good.
today. You are hysterical.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure. We're so glad to finally have you on the show. I was telling Jenna she didn't know how you and I came across each other. And so I told her today that I was on Bumble pimping the podcast and she was on Bumble pimping her comedy career.
I love it. It's a grind.
And into our inboxes we came.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what went down. Well, and I got myself banned from Tinder.
He probably did too, for the same reason.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
well, and honestly, I think that really, like, it happened to you too, but I know for a fact, like, you interact with somebody and you realize that is the person who got me banned. Like, you know, in the moment that it's happening, like, this person is going to get me banned because I don't, it would take me a long time to look up the actual word
But
for
you
word
definitely
conversation.
screenshotted it.
Yeah, I screenshotted it because he was like, I bet you just want these desperate, sad, pathetic men to come to your show so you can just demean them in front of people. I bet you get off on that. It's just
Yikes.
absolutely, yeah. And I was
Do you
just
live
like,
in my brain?
yeah, I was like, and I what I said, because I was just, I
like,
make
I
light of
wouldn't date
everything. I was like, that actually sounds really fun. I should start doing that. And he was just like, you make me sick. I'd like block me. I was like, so much
That's
projecting.
aggressive.
I remember you posting another conversation that you had on there, and didn't another comedian say something really shitty too?
Oh no, not a comedian. No, there was this guy who was a Taurus. I love that I remember this
He
about
was
his
a
profile.
Taurus.
And he was just like, tell me a joke. And I was like, well, what kind of comedians do you like? Because I'm like trying to gauge like what he's gonna find funny.
Right.
To try to prove to him that he should come to my show because I'm a crazy person. And he was like, well, you should just know and you should tell a joke. Like, you should just da-da-da. And I was just like, I don't need to spend my time like trying to impress somebody who would pull the acoustic guitar out to play Wonderwall at the party. And that was from like looking at his pictures.
I feel attacked.
TJ,
right now.
I was just going to
Oh my
say,
God.
oh shit, that's you.
Yeah. And he was like, you know what? You need to change everything about your personality. People like you are exactly what's wrong with these dating sites. Like, you're just so selfish and self-absorbed and you're never going to find love. And I was just like,
Wow.
okay, bye.
Well,
Like,
I don't agree with that, but if I did have one thing to say, it would be backbeat, the word is on the street, and the fire in your heart is out.
I just kind of feel like I don't understand why people are like that on dating, especially Tinder. It's not like you're fucking paying for that. Like, it's Tinder.
it's free.
What do you expect? Yeah, what do you expect? It's like the app for hookups. So who gives a shit?
I mean,
No one's taking it that seriously.
the only time that I was legitimately on Tinder, like trying to swipe to like meet people to date, is when I was doing a semester in London, and everyone in my life was like, "Don't go on Tinder in London. You're gonna end up like murdered."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Murdered.
shit, really?
End up in
Yeah.
a shipping container somewhere.
Exactly. But I was
But I
like,
love an accent.
and I was like, I love an accent, one, and two, I was like, I'm poor and I would like to get some free dinners
Yeah,
out
fair.
of this.
That's fair.
But like, I think probably like 3 days into having Tinder in London, I had somebody, the first message, like the lead-in message was like, I want to rip you open. I was 20 years old at
What?
the time. So I was just like, I'm good on this.
What
Like, I'm
does that
chill.
even mean? I mean, I know what it means. Don't explain it. But what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Well, and it's like ironic because my husband's English now. But yeah, I was just like, what?
Did you meet him on Tinder in England?
I did not. I met my husband working at summer camp in
That's
Minnesota.
Very wholesome.
Really?
was
That's
very
so
sweet.
random.
Yeah.
What was he doing here?
He did a Camp America program. So it's like they basically, United States camps will set up a program where they give internationals from Europe a longer term travel visa if they come and work in American summer camps for way less money than like what Americans are getting paid to work in the same job.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty and then it's like they'll hold the visas over the people's head.
Yeah.
They'll be like, if you don't do what we say, like you're never gonna be allowed back in this country. It's really messed up. But I met my husband there, so I'm glad he did it, even though they like kind of pulled some fast moves on some of the European people who were working there.
Was it a situation like we need to get married quick to get the citizenship thing handled?
So what had happened is like we got engaged in 2016, and then
Wait, can I ask how long you were together before you got engaged? Our listeners,
yeah,
have stories like this.
I was gonna say, so before we got engaged,
Success stories, that is.
Yes, I was
we
saying,
don't have any.
I'm trying to think. We were together 4 years before we got engaged, and when we got engaged, we had like pretty quickly planned within a few months that we were going to have our wedding in May of 2018, and then
So you're
we had given ourselves like a 2-year engagement. But our whole point was like we were tired of doing long distance. Like we didn't want to have a big wedding ceremony and then have to go live in different countries again. Like we were like, once we do this thing, we live together. Like period.
Right.
We got legally married in January 2017. Like really quick shotgun wedding. Like my best friend was the only person there. Her boyfriend was there too at the time, but they're broken up now and he's dead to me. So she was the only person who was
As he
there.
should be, of course.
She was the only one there. He doesn't exist anymore. He's not alive. If you ever listen to this, I'm going to be like, But no, you're dead to us. So you were not
too.
there.
It's fine.
Yeah. Dead to everyone in this room.
Everyone in this room and anybody listening, whatever your name is, you're dead to us.
burned
You done
to the
fucked
ground.
up. So we like did shotgun wedding, and then we had to do all the immigration paperwork, which took exactly a year. And then he was able to move here March of 2018. And then we had our wedding in May. And we probably saw each other our first year married. We saw each other like 17 days. So we consider our like May celebration
Your actual
our
wedding
actual
day?
wedding. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like we were married, but it was like the hardest time for us, as well as moving in together was a hard time too, because we went from long distance to now we live together.
That's
Like
exactly what I was thinking. Like that's so hard. That's such a hard step in a relationship. People don't think that it is, but it is. You're sharing a life together now. Like you could be together for years and it doesn't matter. You don't really truly know someone until they're in your
Right.
fucking space.
well, and I think the other
But you're
thing-
married and you can't get out. Well, I mean, you can. I did, but you know,
I like you can, but it's
you're
like
not supposed to.
you're not supposed to. And I was gonna say, I know the thing that was the most difficult for us, I think, in terms of like adjusting to living together is because I am like a performer and a stand-up comedian. I'm so busy all the time, and I think being in a long distance relationship with somebody, if I'm planning a trip to see him for 7 days, I'm only seeing him because I haven't seen him for 4 months. Whereas now that he lives with me, I think he's had to adjust to like how thin my schedule is spread, and he sometimes feels like he's playing second fiddle to like my career stuff. But it's just getting used to the fact that like, okay, all that quality time that you're feeling all at once, it's going to be a bit more spread out now. It's not going to be like we haven't seen each other for 4 months every single day of our lives, because we're seeing each other every single day of our lives.
Totally.
Well, I think that's kind of a good segue. You know, we talked a little bit in the intro about your musical wife material. Now that you are a wife, you want to give us a little bit of background about what your musical was about?
Yeah. So my musical, it came from a place of, I started writing it probably 1 month after we had like eloped.
Okay.
Because he went back and we had been talking like, when are we going to see each other again? When are we going to see each other again? And the soonest we could see each other again, I think was like April of that year. We got married beginning of January, and we weren't going to see each other till April.
Oh.
And everyone was kind of just like snidely, just like, well, you're married now. Everything's set for you. You're married now. But it's like, I was just moving to a new city. My husband's not allowed to come live with me until all this paperwork process, which we don't know any idea how long that's going to take.
Right.
I don't know anyone. I'm starting comedy in a new city. And it just like, I felt so overwhelmed and frustrated with the fact that like, now I'm supposed to be this, I'm going from this label that I previously was of being like a huge hoe to like, I'm supposed to be this label now. And everybody's like, oh, you're this now. And if I see you just as this, I can make sense of you and process you, and that's fine. And yeah, I just was like really, really, really depressed about it all. And that was kind of what Wife Material came from. And I was lucky enough that I had been working with this man, Stefan Brun, at the Prop Theater. He was directing like a play for Rhino Fest. And I went in and I was just like, I want to do a one-person show and I want you to help me. And he was like, I don't like one-person shows, but I like you. So tell me your idea. And so like I told him my idea. He was on board with it. And yeah, we just met like every week over the course of the next year trying to like build the structure of it. And it was like mainly like the inciting incident is me sort of being like, oh, I'm the wife now, but I never saw myself filling this role. And
Right.
like, I have this past and this past sexual history that is not becoming of the typical wife. How do
What does
I,
that even mean though?
which is like, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think
This
that
isn't
Kind of
1950
lampooning
anymore.
like the
Nah,
label.
the label, yeah. And basically, like, as the show's developed, because there's been like, I've done many different ideations of the show. I've done it like me with a stool and a boombox. And then I've done like, I had a cast
Is there
of two
breakdancing in
women.
that one?
I wish there was a breakdancing in everything I do, but no, I'm not a great breakdancer, unfortunately. It's not one of my skills. But yeah, I think that the big thing I tried to do with wife material was look at all of these labels that have been put on me throughout the course of my life and kind of tear them down and try to exhibit for women my age and women younger than me. Because I think the thing that I kept running into when I did wife material is older women would be like, well, where do we fit into this narrative?
How
And
old are you, if you don't mind us asking?
I'm 27. So I felt like I wrote my show for like millennials and younger, maybe a little bit. Like I didn't write my show for baby boomers. That's my
Right,
point.
for
I didn't
sure.
write it for them.
Yeah.
And so when baby boomers would come to me and be like, where do we fit into this narrative? And I'm like, you don't. And I'm sorry. Like you wrote things that weren't for us. I wrote something that wasn't for you. And I apologize that you don't feel included, but
Right. Well, and you would think obviously your art is going to speak to your experience and the way you perceive the world. And I think choosing wife material as a title for it is kind of really brilliant, just since you know, the way you described it, it does seem to be kind of like tearing down the constructs of like just labels in general. And, you know, people, I think that's something that a lot of people do to fit you into a box and to make sense of the person you are. They want to like neatly tie you up into a couple key phrases. So that's really kind of a cool play.
yeah. What I mean, the most current version of that is, oh, what's your horoscope sign? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. I get so annoyed because I'm a Cancer, so everyone's always like, "You're an emotional wreck," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it's not because I'm a Cancer. Fuck off."
My mom's a Cancer. I'm just gonna put that out there. You guys are two peas in a pod.
All right. Well, before we go too far into Jenna's childhood and how similar me and her mother are, why don't we dive into the
Wait,
topic?
I had a point on this.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's interesting that you say this because
I'm gonna edit it out, but go ahead. Just kidding.
no. Do you see what I have to put up with? Honestly. So here on the podcast, it's really interesting. We've had a lot of comedians. We've had a lot of experts, like a sex therapist, but what we kind of learned from that, and it sort of opens your mind. We had a dominatrix on, and we had a poly guy on, and so it sort of opens your eyes into think. And I mean, TJ and I are very like. I don't want to sound like my mom and be like, we're so like cool,
We're
and
hip,
current
we're
and like
cool,
open
yeah.
to like whatever. But that's sort of what I feel like, right? Because I don't have this 1950s view of what sex should be like, what marriage should be like. Who defines what the fuck a relationship looks like? Like I've been having this conversation. So the guy that I'm dating is long distance. Actually, he's not as far as England, thank goodness. He's on the East Coast, but to me, still. But I mean, God, that's the capacity I do really well in, because I am able to dedicate time. My life can be busy, and I can get caught up in other things, and so it allows me to dedicate time to him and give each other what we need, but also like do my own thing. Yeah. And I even said to a friend the other day, I was like, I don't know where this is going to end. He's in a job that like may not be able to get him here. He's currently looking for other jobs, but he also has kids. So at this point, who knows?
Is this
right?
where you tell me you're ending the podcast to move back to Maryland?
No, I will never. And that's the other thing, is that I will never move back to the East Coast because I can't do my job there. I'm in advertising, and it's only big cities, and DC doesn't count as the big city. It's like LA, New York, Chicago. A friend of mine was like, well, what does that mean for the future of your relationship? And I was like, I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I've already been married. He's already been married. And I'm okay in this capacity. So if this means we're like this forever or however long that is for us, I'm actually okay with that. Now, I mean, ask me in like 3 years when maybe we're like completely crazy.
So like
and like
7
head
dudes
over heels.
past him?
Stop it.
JK.
And things, get more serious, and I might have a different outlook on that. But for right now, I don't know. It's working. And so why, like, who's to say like what a traditional relationship should look like, or what sex should look like, or whatever it may be. Right. So that kind of leads us into our topic today, because this came up actually. It was he's going to kill me. I don't think he listens. He's listened to one episode, but I hope he doesn't listen to this one.
You need one of those Men in Black
Sorry,
things that you like
buddy.
flash people and they forget everything they've seen or heard.
I do. This kind of came up in discussion recently with him, and he asked me the question of like, how many people have you slept with? And he said it in a joking way. And at first I dismissed it. And then he brought it up again. And I was like, oh, he was serious.
And then you were like, listen, man, the batteries in my TI-83 are dead. We can't have this conversation right now.
Well, I got to be honest with you. It's kind of what I said in a very nice way was like, I haven't had this discussion with someone since like high school or maybe college, because back then it was, quite frankly, it was an easy number to count, right? I am in my 30s. And I've been married, and by this point in my life, it's like I don't even know. I haven't like I don't have like I have a diary of people.
This is where she tries. This is where she tries to confuse you, so you don't believe that there's just notches on her top of her bed. It's like, what does that even mean? And then I panicked, and I was like, well, fuck, I know where this is gonna go. Like if I say too high, they think I'm a whore. Which, by the way, what the fuck does that even mean? Again, right? Yeah. So it's like I don't, but he's a little more old fashioned than I am in that way sometimes. And so like for me, I'm just like, I don't know, who cares? I don't care. You shouldn't care. We had lives before each other, and who gives a fuck what that looked like? Because like now we're together, and now I'm not boning other men's, and hopefully you're that
not
he knows
boning
of.
other
He's
women.
across the country. You could really be doing whatever you want.
So you're such a dick.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. She's not.
I'm not. So at this point, it's kind of like, who cares? But people care, and people still talk about it. And I think I kind of got myself out of it when I was like, listen, I haven't kept track in a really long time. Honestly, it's like it doesn't matter to me. If you want to, and then I felt my therapy brain said, I have to validate the feelings, right? So I said, if this is something that's really a concern or something that you're truly interested in talking about, we can have this conversation. I'm happy to have that conversation, but like, I don't really know if it's going to end anywhere productive. So what's the point? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, is this something that you guys like, do you guys talk? Have you ever asked someone this? Maybe this comes up.
Is that something that when you were dating, you were constantly having to talk about with people, or people were quick to bring up?
This is the thing. And like, maybe this could just be me because I would not say I'm as concerned about it in general as a woman.
Right.
I have always been asked by men what my number is.
Really?
Always.
Really?
And I think
I haven't gotten that question in so long.
I think it's because the way I conduct myself, like people just assume I'm just like a little slut. So they're like, oh, like how, and I'm just like,
we've never met, but same.
Yeah. I'm just like, and the thing that like I find frustrating about it is it's like, what is the root of the question? Like, are you trying to make sure I'm sexually healthy? Like, I can show you the results of my STD test that I'm completely clean and STD free. Like, is it your own insecurity about how you measure up to these people? I definitely think it's the place of insecurity and the place of like, oh, well, like if her number is higher than my number, then she's more desirable than me and she's more likely to get bored of me. And I think,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I also think, because I feel like a lot of like societal norms have created this beautiful picture perfect idea of marriage and family and house and love as a way to keep women in the house and keep women from like going out and like roaming around. And then men have had more flexibility to do that.
Anywhere you want to.
Yeah.
Because it's acceptable.
Yeah. And acceptable. Well, that's the thing is like, if a woman loves a man, she will not give a shit. In my opinion, she won't give a shit how many women he's been with.
But a man, I think a man does.
Oh, a man totally cares.
That's a spider.
Oh, I didn't mean to kill it.
Oh, whatever. You are so kind and sweet.
I tried to get it.
She did try to like carry it to its
in my plant.
Yeah. No, to that point, I think you're really spot on. And it's my personal experience has been that it also has been a long time since anyone has asked me, Jenna, to your point. And I don't ask anyone, but I do think it comes from a point of insecurity. And I think a lot of that is just like propagated through sexual norms over time, that men are taught that like a woman who is either a virgin or virgin-esque is like close to that there's some level of purity, or that you'll be able to like teach them and train them. And it's fucked up because first of all, I remember when I lost my virginity, it was to a virgin, and that was the worst sex of my goddamn life. The last thing I want to do is have sex with a virgin. So with that said, as long as someone's clean and careful, that's really all you should care about.
Do you think he saw me virgin like? That's never happened to me before. Well, because he doesn't live here.
I was going to say, I think the thing that what you were saying about people wanting to sleep with a virgin, I think that that's partially true. In my experience, And like, I grew up in Northwest Indiana and I do comedy. I have had to be exposed to a lot of men. I think like a lot of my guy friends and the guys I know well have this fantasy of like this virgin who fucks like a porn star. And I'm just like,
That does not exist.
I'm so confused because I'm just like, how are you supposed to be good at fucking if you don't do it regularly? Like
Right.
this, you want something that doesn't exist. Like nobody is going to know how to have sex if they haven't done it often enough and with enough regularity to know what they like and to be adult enough to communicate. Because the thing is like, I mean, I think that you can have sex for any number of reasons. Like, because you're horny, for money, for love. Like sex can be so many different
Because you're
things.
hungry and you really want free dinner.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's so many different reasons that you can have sex. What's hilarious to me is I think the same guys who will get weirded out and worked up if a girl has a high number are the kind of guys who will not be communicative during sex and like try to make it pleasurable for women.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's an interesting.
That's true.
Wait, I have something to say. Did you guys? I don't know if TJ you've watched it yet, but Euphoria. Did you watch Euphoria?
Yes, I loved
So
Euphoria.
good, right?
I loved
TJ,
it.
did you watch it yet?
I have not.
Okay, so what you were just saying reminded me of the scene of the girl who's with the like football guy.
Yeah,
and she claimed she was a virgin and she was like watching porn to make sure she was like doing the right faces and like making it
God.
up, right?
Yeah.
So like that's kind of how women are, right? It's like, why can't you, oh, fine, whatever. Anyway, that was a fucked up show, but that kind of reminded me of what you were saying because like that's exactly it. It was like she was doing these movements and these things that she thought that he wanted and wasn't necessarily getting what she wanted out of it. It was all for show to make him feel better, to make his
Which
feel
is
better.
like, that's
so sad.
what so many of, I mean, I think so many women are taught to like, you know, stay in line, like make it good for him, like da 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 da. Like I think the first time I ever was like, wait, why am I here? If not for this to be good for me is like, it was just like a huge epiphany and like
Right.
a mind, because I think honestly, like a huge reason why I was such a hoe is it was like addictive in terms of the like, this, like, they're clearly having such a good time. They feel so good. When is it going to feel this good for me? Like, I was like, I gotta find the person who's going to make this be good for me because it's not always good for me. Yeah, I just think it's so bizarre, just bizarre to me. Like that episode in Euphoria specifically that you're talking about. Because yeah, they have porn so easily accessible.
I think like women specifically, like I don't care why you're doing it, like whether you're doing it just like why you're having all the sex, like as long as you're enjoying yourself and owning it, who gives a fuck? And I think that is my issue with this conversation is it makes me feel a little bit like we're back in 1950s and I'm not supposed to be enjoying it. I'm not supposed to be going out and having sex with all these guys or like whatever. I was married and with someone for like 8 years. And after that, it was like a long time since I'd had sex with somebody else, right? And so there's like this, and also as long as you're not doing it for self-validation, which admittedly I was for a little bit after my divorce because there was just so much shit that went along with the divorce. As long as you're not doing it for that reason, you're doing it because you're enjoying it and having a good time, like who gives a fuck? Yeah. But I think sometimes men specifically don't think that way.
How do you mean?
Like I think men, no matter how evolved, and I could be wrong. I love to generalize, but I try not to. I know I do it all the time. DJ's always like, that not everything's so black and white. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but
They call me the voice for a reason.
I'm just going to say it. Sometimes they feel like men are a little bit more conservative about that. Like when women are out having sex, than women are about men having all this sex.
Yeah, I mean, look at just the societal tropes that have held true over like hundreds of years. The old joke that they say, the key analogy, that a key that can open every lock is a master key. A lock that gets opened by every key is a shitty lock.
Oh,
And
God.
that's horrible.
Really?
I'm sure you've heard that, right?
No, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I heard that when I was in fucking high school.
Yeah,
And
it's so stupid.
I've never heard that.
It's so stupid.
Well, and it's the same as like
Did you hear it from church?
Your pussy is a flower, and every time you let somebody
You guys
have
can't see me, but I
sex
just
with
rolled my eyes.
you take a petal off the flower, and then it's just a thorny. Like,
Really?
if you don't use it, you lose it. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that one? If you don't use
Exactly.
it, you lose it.
That's bananas. And also like, but that's it. I mean, all the messaging we get hit with, I'm in advertising, right? So like all the messaging you get hit with in movies and commercials and all those things, it's like, it doesn't necessarily always give women this like empowerment. I mean, now it's a little bit different. I will say 2019, it's starting to turn around a lot, especially with
we've made it like 8% of the way that we need to go.
But I think there's a long way that we have to go. So I just find this conversation and this question to be interesting is the wrong word. I sometimes feel like it's a little insulting.
And maybe
and maybe I shouldn't have felt insulted. Maybe I should have just been like, here's my I don't know, here I am. Take me and love me for who I am. But I immediately, that's who I would like to be.
Right.
But I immediately kind of clammed up and got nervous that I would have said something wrong that would have, it's still really new. It's only been a couple of months. So it's like, I don't know.
But hear me out here. I think that you're right, and I think we're all on the same page that the number truly does not matter and it shouldn't matter. But as to whether or not it should be asked, it really just depends on what's right for the two of you. And him asking or anybody asking isn't by itself like a problematic thing. I mean, whatever. But if you're not comfortable and you're just like, oh, hey, that's not something I really talk about, and spell out where your head's at about it. And as long as he's understanding about that, then I think the whole thing is fine. But what's really important is that, what is sex? Like, okay, are we counting blowjobs? Are we counting ass play? Are we counting like whatever? I mean, and then the other thing is
oral.
If someone asked you, and I mean, what if you were like, I'm going to be like the Republican governor of Iowa or something. What do you believe is sex? Oh, sex is something you have in the marital bed. Okay, well then I've only had sex with one person.
Or if you're Catholic and you don't believe anal's a thing.
So if people tell me, hey, how many people you've been sex with? I've had sex with one person. So that's my new number. I'm going with that from now on.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to define all that. It's a deep conversation. I think there's a lot of layers to it. I'm pretty sure everything. Well, not oral sex. That's not like, to me, that's not like
oral sex doesn't even count.
But I mean like actual like penetrate. Well, I guess that is sort of penetration.
I had a bit like one of my sections in wife material is I talk about like, oh, I've met this man who like I want to spend the rest of my life with, and then I like become Tom, and he's asking me like, what's your number, which like did actually happen.
Oh, that's funny.
But I dramatized
it did happen.
I dramatized the story for the sake of the show.
Right.
And like one of the big punchlines was I look at him and I'm like, does oral count? And he's like, I can't believe you'd ask that. I'm like, so now? He's like, yes,
oh,
it
he
counts.
said yes, it counts?
I'm not in real life, but I thought for the
I was
joke.
like, oh, fuck.
Sometimes you change things for comedy.
Of course.
For
Create a little creative license.
No, and the real conversation, I mean, I made it silly for the show, but the real conversation was, what's your number? And I said, like, the number of people I slept with. I was going to play dumber, but I'd be like, my phone number, you have it.
867-5309.
And then he was like, yeah, like the number of people you slept with. And I said, well, do you mean like people I've randomly had one night stands with or people I care about?
Oh, that's so funny. I said that same thing. Yeah. I can count on my hands the people that I like cared about that I slept with, but that doesn't, that's so funny. I actually said the same thing.
No, but it's like, I'm sorry, it's true. Like sometimes it's like, when you have a mosquito bite and you need to scratch your leg, or when you're hungry and you need to eat pizza rolls, like it's just you need to have sex sometimes.
I fucking love pizza rolls. This episode is brought to you by Totino's.
Totino's.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny since we're starting to get a little bit more into the meat of this. We have something that shows that a stat is that the average is 7 people slept with in a lifetime, which to me,
that's low.
That's the proper response.
Yeah. They're lying. They're all liars.
They are. Well, I feel like anybody who's familiar with the term response bias, like if someone asks, if to your face, or you're going to go in a room and fill out a thing and hand it to someone, and there's that ownership of them knowing who you are, you might not be honest about a question like that.
Okay, but if you read the rest of it, basically, it's like an average, right?
Yeah.
So they said it varied by state. So like Louisiana was 14.
41, got it.
14.
41. Mm-hmm.
And then a place like Utah was 2.5.
It's really just one.
It's like
sister
Mormons,
wives.
lots of Mormons. Yeah,
a lot of 3 women families and whatnot.
Yeah, so that could bring down the average when you have lots of religious states. The Bible Belt. The Bible Belt totally fucks everything up.
But then it's like, y'all know Footloose, the musical, right?
Of course.
She's the preacher's daughter, and she's just like throwing caution to the wind.
Totally.
I feel like definitely in Indiana, like, I saw religion have an adverse effect on a lot of people. I saw a lot of people just go. But then, like you were saying, the really devout people would just have anal. Like that was their way of dealing with it.
They're like, okay, whatever.
It's like in my butt. It's not the same. I'm still a virgin. It's like, your asshole's just torn to shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's funny. I've had a lot of friends who are a little well, not a lot, like a handful of friends who are religious or married someone who's religious. And so that whole like no sex before, this was their first marriage, by the way.
Yeah.
Second one, that didn't happen. First marriages. And they were like, yeah, totally no sex before marriage. And then that's the problem is that like you're like in this marriage, whatever. Anyway, but they would say, I'd be like, but I knew you in high school. So I know you've had sex. They're like, but not like vaginally. And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean?
I like it when
that's
someone
still sex.
squeezes their leg real tight and you can just slide it in like right in the fold behind their knee. That's totally not sex.
That's super creepy. Well, that's it. I mean, like what does like bringing, like if you're a dude bringing you to completion, does that count as sex?
No.
Really? Because it's all
I don't know. Are we asking me my number right now? Because if so, then no, it doesn't count.
No, I'm asking you your opinion.
If I had to tell you the number of knees that I've fucked in the last 10 years, you would all be disgusted with me.
That's really gross.
You fucked some knees?
No.
Oh my God. No,
Don't
I'm
do
kidding.
that in my house.
All I can think of is like, because like if it was to completion, then like I had sex. There's a guy who, oh my gosh, he won't listen to this. He doesn't follow me anymore. This guy was not pizza. I worked at a Chinese restaurant. He was the delivery driver. I always want to say pizza delivery because that just like
This
rings
already
better
sounds
than
like a
delivery driver.
Cinemax movie.
Yeah,
does.
but
I've streamed this before.
he was a delivery driver at the Chinese restaurant with me, and I agreed to go see a movie with him. We went to the movie theater. We snuck in Chinese food. We ate it, and then after the movie, he went and gave me a ride home, and he gave me a kiss, and then we started to like make out a little bit, and then he was like, and I was like, what? And he came from making out with me. So I was like,
You didn't know you had it like that.
Yeah, I didn't know I
shit.
had it like that.
It was the MSG and the
All that MSG.
MSG causes premature ejaculation.
So I saw
problem.
MSG is really just
It's just
my sperm. Gotta go.
it's like super salty sperm.
My sperm gotta go. I
My
love it.
sperm gotta go. No, that was the one that I like was horrified because I was just like, I didn't even touch his. It is like you can see the little spot.
That's
It's
so
like,
awkward.
so awkward. And he was like 17. I was like 50. He was
Why
like
do they call
17,
it dry
15.
humping if at the end he always needs the towel?
When we didn't even hump, like we were just kissing.
Wow.
What's wrong with you? Because like I'd sucked a dick before by then.
No, it was definitely a virgin. Right?
Okay,
Like that doesn't
so-
happen normally. I don't know. I'm looking at you, dude, in the room.
I mean, I would like to, for anyone who's listening, no, it does not happen normally, but I'm sure there are people out there for which it happens. Out here trying to sully my name on these streets. Come on
I was
now.
asking. You're the only man with the. I mean, you're
The only
I
man
don't
with the
know.
potential to have prematurely come in my pants from a little low-key makeout session. No, I have not, but I'm sure there are many dudes out there that have.
Maybe.
Thou doth protest too much, right?
Yeah.
I feel like having a ween is a little tricky.
And can I say that 39 episodes in, it never ceases to amaze me that you still refer to it as a ween?
Why?
I love a wiener.
I mean,
I love a
yeah.
wiener as a word for it.
Yeah.
I mean, wiener's cool, but
Penis
she says ween.
because
ween.
penis is so.
Right? It's like, what are we in 8th fucking grade, Jenna?
But penis feels so clinical, and then dick feels so like, meh. And then the C word, which I only use in bed, feels inappropriate to use on the podcast.
Cock?
Yeah. And
Cock's been ruined for me because my husband's British accent. Like, if you've ever heard cock
I lived with a
it's
British person
fair.
for like 5 years.
in the British accent is just like he can say anything else that's sexy, but the second he's like, "Do you want to feel my hard cock?" I'm just like, get
You're like, I'm
dressed,
sorry, you're what?
get away from me. Like, cock. It sounds like the stuff you used to like fix a wall. Like,
You'd be like, remember the Revolutionary War, say it the American way. Cock. Cock.
yeah, it sounds like you're choking on your own cock. Like I don't know why.
So that's hysterical. So one other thing that we had is Jenna found a sex calculator for
that was fucking
sexology.
scary.
Okay, so what this is, and we'll put a link of it into the show notes, is this is a calculator where you can get a total of all the people that you've not only had sex with, all the people that you've had sex with, not only just like directly you have had sex with them one-on-one or one-on-two, depends on how you roll.
Yeah.
But indirectly had sex with, kind of like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon sort of thing, but with penises and vaginas.
Weens.
And weens. Weens, Jesus Christ. So I've got it up here right now.
Don't do it. Honestly,
I'm
you
not
guys-
gonna. So I just literally started making up numbers. So the way it works is it asks you how many sexual partners by age range: 16 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 37. So I just
What if you don't know?
right.
That's it.
Well, they mean
I
mean
started to do it and it freaked me the fuck out.
I-
I was like, I can't do this.
just to see how ridiculous it would get. I put 21 people. Okay.
Okay.
Just to see how ridiculous it would get.
Wait,
That's like on
21's
the low
ridiculous.
side.
No.
That's on the low end.
No, it's not. Hold on, wait. if you've had 21 direct sexual partners, you have had 5,812,539 indirect sexual partners.
That's fucked up. Right? Like, doesn't that kind of freak you out a little bit?
Can I put up my number? I'm not going to say my number on the podcast. So I love it.
No,
what if
we can
I
do it
put it
afterwards.
in and then you can just say what the big number is?
All right.
Okay.
I just kind of feel like that when I did that, and I don't even, honestly, I truly don't know what my number is. I just took like a median.
Oh, and I would put the age that they were when we had
Yeah,
sex
and you can
with
just
them.
guess, make it like kind of just whatever. You can estimate.
Oh man,
Yeah, I
this
always-
is going to be messy.
Well, that's the problem. And then it comes
It's going
out.
to be messy like a make-out session cum job.
I literally was like, and then it comes out. And I was like,
Oh,
no,
wait. Okay. So is it like the, this is my thing. Is it the age they are now or the age they
The
were
age you were
this time?
then, yeah.
The age they were then?
Yeah. So just guess.
Okay.
You can make a reasonable facsimile. You seem like an intelligent woman.
I don't know. I did that and I was like,
I don't know, or you saying
no,
you don't know?
I'm saying I don't know about this because I did this and I did not like what I saw. Which doesn't really mean anything, but like when you think about it in terms of like the degrees of separation, it's like I had sex with this person who had sex with this person who then probably had sex with all these other people with that, right? Like
Right, yeah.
when you really
And-
think about
and all,
it, it's
all
really
it takes
fucking
is one
scary.
person in the mix who's had sex with like a couple hundred people.
Totally.
And next thing you know, it's like,
Next thing you know, you've got 10 STDs. Just kidding, guys. Wrap it up.
Oh, I'm trying to now I'm like second guessing myself.
Don't overthink it. Just
grab a number, throw it
Yeah.
in there. and
I'm
we'll-
just doing this is a guesstimate.
okay.
okay.
You tell, are you close to the final tally? Did you calculate your number, your indirect?
I think that this is okay. I feel like I'm lying though. Looking at this, I'm like, this
lie.
number is too
Don't look at the
small.
don't look at
Let's-
the number.
let's hear it.
Just answer it honestly.
Honestly, from what I can recall,
Okay.
I think this is right.
You're indirect. You don't have to
What
tell
does it
direct.
say?
Oh, my indirect.
Yeah, you don't have to tell your direct.
Oh yeah, my direct. You don't need to know.
Yeah, no, that's not our
Listeners,
business. I didn't want to put you on the spot that hard.
Oh, my indirect. Oh my god.
What does it say?
Can I see it?
My indirect sexual partners. 19 million.
Holy shit.
How'd your
425,000.
Yeah.
418.
two
how
of
are
those were on the way to recording tonight.
How are they? I want to know how they're calculating this. Like that is.
Do you want to delete it before I look at the screen?
I don't care. You can see.
That is like crazy to me. 19 million is impressive. I have nothing else
You
to say except
are my
for like bow
indirect sex
down.
idol.
Honestly.
I got that $19 million pussy. All right.
Yeah, you do. It's like encased in gold and diamonds.
Could you imagine if you could get $1 for every indirect sexual partner you had?
Honestly,
Oh
that
my
should
God.
be a business proposal.
That's the new Andrew Yang thing. He's going to be
Trademark.
the platform he's going to run for president on, $1 for every indirect piece of sex you've ever had.
I mean,
I think just like a new rule should be like, if we have sex and I do not have one orgasm, you're giving me $20. Like that's
Pay for play. You should have like a sex contract. And when guys come over, it's like, all right, these are the terms. You need to get me off at least one time.
That's not that hard. I mean, it's a
I
little
was
hard.
going to say it's harder for, I think, for women than
You
it is
think?
for men.
I think that's been
So-
empirically proven time and
Yeah.
time again.
So
Dudes are
maybe-
nutting in their drawers, fucking just kissing her for 30 seconds.
Well,
Yeah, clearly.
I think also the other thing is that we are able to commit to the bit, whereas these dudes are just like, this is too much work. I'm lazy.
It's a lot of work. It
I
is
don't
a
like
lot of work.
Oh, no. I got something to prove when I'm in there. Fuck
You
that.
do? Really?
Yeah.
I feel like not every man is like that.
Yeah.
I feel like
And
for a
also,
dude,
do you
you're going to
really
enjoy
think
it
she's-
regardless. So why not?
I have a real question for you. Do
Okay.
you think that they are
Only real questions. They're the only kind to answer.
not faking it?
I don't.
How do you know? That's my thing.
I mean, I don't think you ever truly know.
When
But
Harry
if
met Sally, like
no,
a
you
million
never
times.
truly know. But if you're, if you're willing and you're receptive and you are like, okay, this is what I want to do. It is my goal to make sure that you are enjoying this, knowing that as long as they're enjoying it, that will make me enjoy it. And it's someone that you can clearly communicate that with. And then like, if you're into it, I'm sure you want to get off right.
Totally.
Yeah.
And if a dude is like, all right, I will do whatever, like you just like give me just a little delicate instruction and I'm all over it. And granted, that's not the sexiest thing ever. And I'm not saying it's going to go exactly like that. But if you're down and you're willing to do whatever, what's the point of faking? Don't tell me I did a good job if I didn't do a fucking good job.
This is true. I don't
Nah,
think you deserve
I
a
did-
medal for that.
I never tell people they're doing a good job if they're not. I'm like, I feel like the woman who's like, can I have the manager? I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing, bud? What are you doing down there?
I'm going to need to send this one back to the kitchen. I asked for no mushrooms.
When I had I just like the one I'll never forget is I was hooking up with a guy and I started like to touch my clit because I like to come sometimes. And he's like, why are you touching your clit? What are you doing? I'm like,
no, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then it's like made me feel weird about trying to make myself come. I was like, well, you're not doing it.
Yeah, you're like, do a better job and I wouldn't have to. Actually, that's not true because really sometimes like that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, because sometimes it's not hitting from the right angle or any number of things. So I was like, oh, let me just help myself.
Totally. Sure. Move it along. Let's move it along. And, I agree.
And you know what? Hey, guys, if you're out there, if you're struggling to find it, say, play with your clit. And see how they respond to that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll be into it. And then your job just got easier anyway.
Seriously. There's just not enough communication. We've talked about this on a couple episodes where like it just kind of, for women, especially obviously it's harder for women to get off. So it's like this whole communication thing and sometimes men don't like it. Sometimes they're okay with it. Like TJ always says like, I would appreciate the like,
give me a heads up. Tap me on the head and point a direction. I'll move that way.
Where to go. Yeah. 1,000%. And I think like secure people, I think that probably has a little bit to do with it too. Someone who's like secure in their masculinity or whatever it may be. And just wants to make someone happy, right? Like every partner wants to make someone happy. It's so easy. But like as women, I got to be honest, we have it a little bit easier. Like it's so easy to make a man happy.
Yeah, simple men with simple needs.
Yeah.
And you know, this is kind of funny. A friend of mine who does listen to this show pretty religiously is a woman.
Hi, friend.
And she is in a long-term relationship and with a man. And she is just recently experimenting with women. And she's using an app and enjoying her times on it. And she actually sent me, we were talking the other day and she said something about that she was surprised how easy it was to find the clit. And I was just
as a woman, like,
I was like, well, first of all,
well,
that's what I said. I was like, first of all, you are a woman. You most certainly know where it is better than anyone. And I was like, and secondly, anyone who's like read a fucking book and has like, when you're 17, 18 years old as a dude, if you don't have like half a desire to figure out where that's located to make sure the rest of your life isn't like miserable sexually, it's not that hard to find, right?
Yeah. But that's the thing, like men don't care because they get off. That's what I'm saying. Like men don't give a fuck because they're going to get off regardless.
But then they get all mad because they're like, she doesn't want to have sex with me again. No, like, did I make you come? I'm sorry.
I hate that question. I'm always like, I don't know.
If you're down,
you know if I did.
That's the thing. Yeah, I hate when they're like down in the hood. Just like in the hood.
You can't see her now, but that's the best.
She is definitely performing cunnilingus to the microphone right now.
They're in the hood. They're in the hood. They're in there. And you're making at best the noises you're making are like it's like you're trying to give them something to work with, but you're like, this is not it yet.
No, you got to pull that back, buddy.
Did you come? Like, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
no,
you would know. Yeah, keep going.
I did gesture pushing a man's head back down.
Which is good. That
last 30 seconds was entirely gesture based, and guys, you're missing out because it was pretty quality material.
Yeah, I'm very. Physical
comedy. We got a regular Jim Carrey over here.
No,
that's awesome. Well, that's all I had for this episode. How about you?
No, that's it for me too. Before we wrap this up, I want to just say thank you so much, Jamie, for coming and talking to us. It has been an absolute joy.
Thank you for having me. I had a fun time. I feel like I had some serious, poignant moments. I had some funny moments.
You did. You really ran us through the gamut of everything. Yeah,
it was very emotional.
And your physical comedy of where you pretended to be performing an oral sex act on our microphone was pretty next level.
Sorry, listeners, you didn't see it.
So
I know where the clit is.
So yes, this is the body count episode / guys. If you do anything today, go find the clit.
Yeah,
go find it.
Ask her for help.
Yeah. Say, where is it? It won't be sexy the first time, but if you're just like, hey, where's your clit?
No, listen, I got to be honest with you. There's nothing sexier than a man who wants to please. So like if you just, even if you're like, listen, I can't find it. You won't find the
clit on Google Maps, bro.
Yeah, like if I can't find it, you let me know. And I'm happy to tell you, and I still think you're sexy.
Well, I'm sorry. If we can learn anything from the conversation we've had today, it should not matter the number of people your partner has slept with.
Fair.
If you can get up to number one on that list, and the only way you're getting number one, baby, is figuring out where that clit is. Okay,
that is true.
Find it.
Find it.
True.
All right. So why don't you tell us and tell our listeners where they can find you on social media, and again where they can see you performing coming up.
Okay. So on social media, my Instagram handle. I said Instagram.
You did.
My Instagram handle.
Instagram sounds like a weird SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, it did. And I was like, oh, as I said it, I didn't like it. So I'm at Jamie Shriner Biddle. That's spelled JamieshrinerBiddle. And you can find me on Facebook under the same things. My personal Facebook page, unless I know you, I probably won't add you, but I do have a Jamie Shriner fan page that you can go like. And that would be very cool. I also, all of the music from Wife Material is currently on Spotify, streaming, also on iTunes. And I'm trying to think of anything else I could tell you about myself.
Don't forget to come see her co-produced show at North Bar in Wicker Park on Tuesdays called Shady Babies.
It's super fun. And then also, end of the month, the show that we're doing at the Laugh Factory, it's called Naughty Thoughts. And it's Alexa and I. Alexa's previously been on this podcast. We co-produce it. And October 26th at 11:30 p.m.
My birthday.
It's Jonah's birthday.
We are
Seriously.
coming out. Maybe we'll
We're
make a
doing it.
Menage-A-Pod meetup that
Yeah,
night.
we should.
Oh, that'd be so fun. And on top of that, we're doing, because it's the weekend before Halloween, we're doing a sexy, smutty Halloween costume
I love it.
theme.
Great.
And the best costume is going to win a really cool prize.
TJ, you're so gonna win the like smutty, sexy.
I'm gonna go naked with a wolf mask.
That's awkward
It's-
for
everyone's gonna be
everyone
scared.
involved.
just put your dick in a sling, you know, like
That's
just do that
fine.
at least that.
It's fine.
All right. So once again, thank you so much to Jamie for spending time and talking to us. Guys, remember, if you want to find out more about Menage-A-Pod, head over to our Instagram at Menage-A-Podcast, where you find our link tree that includes links to our Facebook group, which we hope you will join. Remember, join that shit. Twitter account, website, top episodes, and more. Finally, a quick thank you to everyone who makes the show happen, mostly me, Jenna, our fantastic guests, and you guys out there for downloading and listening. Until next time, share us in your stories, retweet us, share our Facebook posts, and find any way you possibly can to tell all of your friends, all of your family about the best podcast ever, Menage-A-Pod.
That's a pretty bold statement, but
I'm
I'll
feeling
back you on
I
that.
got some hubris today.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Good luck out there.
Thanks, guys. Bye.